everything.
Hey, welcome to the Drip Drop podcast. So excited. I'm Corey Angela. More
Did
important,
you hear that?
I know.
Drip drop.
It's a drip drop.
Sorry. Go
But
ahead.
but I was gonna say the more important piece of this intro is not me. It's my good friend Mark. He is not only a franchise owner of F45, I will go out on a limb and say one of the most successful franchise owners. We're gonna get the whole backstory, but thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Appreciate that.
How long have we known each other?
I was talking to someone about that today. I was like, well, it goes back quite a while now. I mean, it goes back to that your
Uh,
home shopping network push
My
workout.
Versapod,
Yeah,
I
your
invented a
Versapod.
fitness
Yes,
product. I did
I
not
love
become a
that.
millionaire, but I was working a
I still have
lifetime.
mine.
Yeah, you still
I
have
do still
yours?
have mine. Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to put a little screenshot of what that was. Those were good times. I remember the first time I heard about you. I don't think I knew you yet, but I heard it. I didn't really hear about F45. We're going back a ways because today we're going to talk a
Yeah.
lot about franchise success. But like back then, there weren't too many fitness franchises from my memory 10 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever it
There was
was.
like just a handful,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah.
And I heard about someone that was opening up an F45 on Long Island. And I'm like, hey, that's where I live. And I'm like, I started to Google it and I was like, oh, this is like an Australian based company. And then I know they were really prevalent in California. We ended up knowing some mutual people. And I think that's how we met, right?
Yep. Yeah, we met through some mutual people, and we were both in the same place at one time, right?
Right.
Met through the mutual people, and then yeah, when I opened up this F45, there was, I think, when I made my commitment to open this studio, when I signed my contract, there were about 10 or 11 in the country.
So this is great because a lot of the people that listen are DRIPBaR owners.
Mhm.
And when I first started almost 2 years ago now, very similar. And long story short, you know this, but and many people know this that know me is one of my favorite jobs in the world. And I give a lot of credit to where I am today is when I worked for F45. It is just a passion, and we'll get into that when it comes to franchising and what this brand is all about in terms of F45. But yeah, back then, when I started the Drip Bar, we had 10, 12
Yeah.
locations. It's very similar path
Yep.
with you. So back then, were there any on the East Coast?
There was so there was one in Bath, New York.
I don't even know where that is, and we're
Exactly,
in New York right now.
exactly my
Yeah.
point. So there was one in Bath, New York, and the one at Flatiron was opened 3 months before us. So
And was that still owned by Jeff, our mutual
yeah,
friend Jeff,
yep,
right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
how did you hear about F45? First of all, what made you decide that you wanted that entrepreneurial spirit into going into franchising, whether it's a food franchise, fitness franchise, whatever it was?
So my original background is a family business. So with my father, the entrepreneur. I mean, this is a guy that won Long Island Entrepreneur of the Year one
I
year,
did
the
not
whole
know
thing.
that.
So yeah, he was a big entrepreneur on Long Island, and I always had that entrepreneurial family business mindset, which is really what it is. You have to think like
Yep.
a family business when you're doing this. And I would work for companies, and I was almost thinking too much of the we instead of the me, because when you're working for a large corporation, they're just thinking of their we,
Yep.
not my we. Um, and I started moonlighting as a trainer at a big box and
What big box? What big box, Jim?
Lifetime.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I was a coach there,
Yep.
and the class that I taught, I really found my passion. So I was working for the New York Mets, doing sales and marketing and partnership
That's
sales.
where when I met you, that's where you were working. I
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
I was at the Islanders and then at the Mets,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
doing the partnership marketing, and that was like the day job. I enjoyed it because what's not to enjoy about
Sure.
working for one of those teams, other than I was with the Islanders during a 14-game losing streak. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But uh, while I was doing that, I found that was my passion. I mean, I took a class that was their 5:45 a.m. class, and I was originally a member of the class, and then they had some trouble with their coaches, and I was certified, so I stepped in, and it was about 10 people, and by the time I was done, it was like 35 of the same people over and over again that just loved it, and I was like, I kind of like this, and I was the madman collecting everything from all parts of the gym to make my class awesome. while I was doing all that, I then had transitioned in work, and was working for doing marketing for another guy, and I was dealing with one of his people from Australia.
Mm,
And she says to me one day, "My dad's opening his first F-45."
wow.
And I was like, "What's an F-45?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "You don't know what F-45 is?" You know, in Australia, it was like a pizza shop in New York City. They were everywhere. Um, and he was opening his first F-45. I said to her, "Is it like an Orange Theory?" And she looked at me and goes, "What's Orange Theory?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I have to look into this." So I went,
Now we say it's like Orange Theory, but better.
right. Well, and actually, I always tell people it's if Orange Theory and CrossFit had a baby.
There you go. I like that.
So I went, looked it up, called up, 1-800 F-45, and Mark Morano answered the phones. He goes back a little bit, and that's how it all started. Went to all my high school friends. I pulled like a Shark Tank with them. I literally brought them into one of their kitchens. I had a spreadsheet. I had handouts.
Do you have a PowerPoint?
Yes, I did. I had a
Hmm.
PowerPoint and I presented to all of them. And one of them stood up and he said, "I'm in." And he's still my partner.
Wow.
Now we bought a car wash together too. So, you got to keep the spirit alive. And as we were getting ready to open it, one of our friends who did not jump in, but is definitely our wealthiest friend, said, "You still haven't taken a class." He's like, you're gonna open this franchise and you're never gonna have taken a class?
So everything you've done up until that point was just look online, talk to some people.
Yep,
You knew one
that's
person
it.
that was opening one. Very similar, by the way, just to
Yep,
make that analogy. A lot of people have never done a drip before.
yep,
And they're like, but I want to, but I've never done it before. Let alone they want to own one. And some
right,
of our owners have never, and that's great.
yep.
It's the passion, what we're getting from it.
It was the passion, and then we looked up the closest F-45, which was in Bath, New York,
Did you go there?
6 hours,
Wow.
drove out there, took a Romans class,
Mm,
drove back, and said, "There, we've taken a class.
yeah.
Now we know that we love it."
Yeah.
And that's, I feel that it was almost like just a confirmation for us.
Sure.
It was a rubber stamp for us to know that this is really something that's going to be special. And then, I mean, we've all seen what F-45 has done now.
Sure.
From being, I think this is the number 13 in the country. That's the general number that I get. But now I think we're up to like 1,500 in the country, or some crazy number now,
It's
and it's
crazy.
just growing. It's still growing, which is
2,500
great.
plus worldwide
Yep.
or whatever the number they're at. What I want to stress to people about not just franchising, but this particular franchise, specifically this particular location, to set the scene for everyone. This is my hometown. This is my home studio when I try and get here. Um, I'm busy. I'm busy, but
I know.
I'll get here.
I know.
But on this same road is one of my favorite drip bars because
Yep.
it's close to
Right.
home to me. So it's literally right up the road. We have a great partnership with the GM Ryan there. How many other competitors? Because a lot of what we do in franchising is competitive analysis. We
Yep.
do the same stuff at the drip bar that you do at F-45. We look at what is the pricing from other competitors, how do they staff their buildings, what's the customer experience like, which is really what I think separates this location from everyone else. Um, how many other fitness concepts are on the same road that we're on right now?
So within about 3/4 of a mile to a mile, I believe we're at about 10 to 12 other group fitness studios,
Yep.
like small studios that do a similar thing to us. And that's, one of the things I always say is you can get a good workout anywhere. It's all about the experience you get while you're there. So that's, what I've learned is plop yourself right in the middle of it all. In the middle of all the action is where you want to be, because that's where the action is. You just have to differentiate yourself and make yourself elevate what your
That is
offering
the
is.
point I'm trying to get across to a lot of people when I speak to just people in general about franchising success, which is don't fear your competitors. It's it's measure yourself up, figure out what separates you. Most of the time, it's the people that you hire, which we're going to get into because it's why this location
Yep.
is one of my favorite locations, not just at F-45, but just the customer experience. But still, walk me through then. You sign on the dotted line at some point that you're going to be a franchise owner. You get the spot picked out.
Yep.
How do you know what to do? And was your
It
mentality
was
as an owner like, I want to be in the weeds? Do I want to hire the right people and let empower them? Is it a mixture of both? Like, what is the mentality going in?
so first location, because I do have the three.
Yep,
So first location was I'm in the weeds. I am like the owner operator, which I think is what is missing from a lot of places. So, my personal opinion is you can't go into a franchise unless it's like a McDonald's or
sure.
like one of those giant franchises as an investment.
Yeah,
You have to go into it as like a passion and I'm going to be involved. I'm hands on. I'm in there with everyone. That's the way you make your people work better too. If you're in there with them, they know that you get it when you ask more of them.
yep,
Um, but sign on the dotted line, and then it's find the location. It is find the right build out because at that time F45 didn't have partners for the build outs,
that's
which
right.
is really important. And then it's hit the ground. You really, the only way that you're going to get the word out is you treat yourself. Even though I was opening a global franchise, I was treating myself like a small, local, independently owned business. And that's how you think about your marketing. You've got your radius, you reach into your radius. And for me, my radius was all of Long Island for like 2.5
Yeah,
years, which is nice. But you reach in you reach out to the right radius and you get those people in. Those are the people. And if they know the owner, they stay.
absolutely. It's grassroots.
Yep.
And again, a lot of people that hear this we say this all the times ad nauseum, but it's so true. I think a lot of people in franchising, at least back in the day, and a lot of times now, they rely too much on digital advertising. Now, there's a place for digital,
Yep.
but to put all your eggs in one basket, and it's almost like entitlement. Like I'm spending $2,500 on advertising every month, therefore I deserve X amount of lead. It
Right.
doesn't work like
No,
that,
it doesn't.
right?
Not at all.
And if you think about this location, which is why I wanted to get you on the podcast, is because there is so much competition here.
Yep.
So what I want to talk about is the importance of the people that you hire. And you made a decision at some point, you're in the weeds. At some point, you start to empower people.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about one or two of your staff members, how long they've been with you,
Hmm.
and what that transition was like to let go a little bit and empower them to make sure they're doing a bunch of tasks each day.
Yeah. So the first thing is the whole like being in the weeds with them. If you're in the weeds with them, and I still am. I mean, I just coached, two classes in Dix Hills this morning. Ran up to Northport, worked a class in Northport. I'm in Northport again tonight. So I'm back and forth everywhere, and by doing that, you have like I want to say you have a respect
Yeah,
from
you
your
have
people,
credibility,
right?
you have
You have
respect. Yeah,
credibility, you have a respect from your people where they're gonna give you what you're giving, right? So you get what you give, right? Um, I have so my regional manager, Sam Resnick, you've met her a
yeah.
million times. Uh, she's like one of my original members.
Shout out to Sam.
So
First of all,
yeah,
in
I
fitness,
tried getting her here. She's still in Northport working with someone, but
how long? How many years has it been?
so we're closing in on 7.
First of all, this is not the norm. To have an
Yeah.
employee, not only that, but in fitness,
Oh yeah.
7 years is like
Very
49
unique. It's
years.
very unique and special. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And so she's climbed up the ranks. I remember when she was a trainer. I remember sitting with her. She was asking me advice on being a manager. Then she was going to be an area manager,
Yep.
overseeing some of your. So with an employee like that, how important is it to have someone that not only understands the back of the house? For you, it's
Mhm.
fitness.
Right.
For us, it's the nurses. But more importantly, how to understand the front of the house. Like if someone comes to her and wants to talk about membership, she can sell a membership. She didn't go to school to learn how to sell.
Yep.
She has no sales background as far as schooling. How does that happen? And how reassuring is it to have someone with sales experience at the front of the house?
So I'm trying to think of, I love saying analogies. So with Sam, started out as a trainer, exceptional on the floor. And that's one of the first
Yep.
things to recognize when someone is exceptional on the floor. The members know it, the membership feels it, right?
Yep.
It grows. And then start delegating, right? With Sam, I need to be careful because she'll just take it all on. Like
Yeah.
she'll just say yes, 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 and then lose her mind. So start delegating, get comfortable, kind of like take that back seat, which is the hardest thing to
That
do.
is the hardest thing
So
for
one of
anyone.
the one of the toughest things to do was to take that back seat and say, you've got it. I'm fortunate because she's one of those people that not only like, this is the analogy that I was trying to think of. She's like a sponge that absorbs everything, but becomes a way bigger waterfall. Like she delivers a lot more
Yep.
than, she builds on things more than I could ever even thought of building sometimes. And that's like, super rare anyway, especially in the generation right now. But um, delegate, step back, watch, don't interrupt, right? Let her do her thing. Give the power. So empowering people is one of those things that's very hard for an owner to do.
Hmm.
And it's also very hard to allow. So to do it, like I empower you, that's great. But if I interrupt you every time that you're making a sale or you want to make a deal or someone came to you with a complaint and you're dealing with it, then I'm not really empowering you. I'm just fake empowering you. To empower someone to say, you're dealing with this and step back and let it happen and let people fall on their face. Let people make it. The only way they're going to learn is if they make a mistake and just rally behind it and fix it. But always be there. Always,
Yeah, I always say fail
always,
fast, right? You got
yeah,
to let them fail, do it fast,
yep.
course correct,
And then
and then
always
they
be
learn.
there. I mean,
Absolutely.
never be unavailable, which is also, it's a challenge, especially as it grows and you have more people. Um, so, Sam is special like that. So she's my regional manager for all three studios now, running the schedule, um, working with the managers of each studio for their marketing, for their newsletters, all that stuff. And then I'm just like, as I tell people now, I just fill the gaps.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
that's the
That's my
perfect
role.
to
Yeah.
me, that's like a blueprint,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like, you're in the weeds at first, you're making sure, there's that anxiousness, nervousness, you have
Yep.
money involved that you've invested. Like, it's okay to be there. I don't think
Hmm.
the long-term plan for you as an entrepreneur is to, like, work the front desk for the rest of your life. Like,
Right.
no, it's not, right?
Right.
So finding the right people, coaching them up,
Yep.
making them feel supported. I think it's also important to give perspective if you've never been into an F45, how similar of the franchise model is pretty similar with any franchise in terms of, like, even a drip bar, which is like square footage. What's a typical F45 square footage?
Typical F45 square footage is probably, I think, 1,800
Yeah,
to 2,000 square
same as
feet.
a drip bar. You probably run with how many front desk people, like, quote unquote, sales or part-time salespeople?
Like one.
One or two,
Yeah, and
right?
primarily I let the trainers, I give them the
Yep.
ability to sell and work, and then I have my studio managers at each location.
Yeah, so it's
Um,
important. That's an important
mhm.
distinction, right? Is to find a good manager. And it doesn't mean they have to come on as a manager. Sam grew into that role.
Yep.
So I encounter owners a lot. And, we talk a lot about having the right mix of people. That does mean having some sort of
Yep.
manager, but it also doesn't mean you need to spend the money on one right away. Let someone grow into the role.
I've actually told many owners your best people come from the floor. And
Yep.
although you might be losing a membership, you're going to gain a lot more out of it. These people, and it's same with so drip bar, I would compare it to, like, even as opposed to someone that comes in all the time, but one of the nurses,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
They know what's going on. They know what they're giving people. They get all the benefits. And if you throw them in charge of things after they show the initiative, all of a sudden they're the person speaking of confidence about what they have.
100%.
So in F45, the member that's bouncing around the room like a lunatic and having the best time and knows everybody in the room is like, let's get you certified. We're gonna turn you into a coach. And then if they continue to show the initiative, they move up.
Yeah.
They might so here in Dix Hills, I have Kaylee. Kaylee's been with me for, I think it's 2.5 years now,
Wow.
3 years. Yeah,
Again,
they stay a
huge.
long time. It's
Yeah.
nice. It feels good that they stay a long time because it means that I'm treating them right. With me, it's like it's an open door.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a key to the space. Everybody can work out whenever they want. They just got to let me know. But she basically lives here. Every member loves her. She loves every member. Um, and she's been fully empowered. So she knows she can sit there and wheel and deal. And if she needs to wheel and deal, she's got a family joining together. She can kind of work it all out. If she has a question, Sam or I will always be there to answer her questions. Um, and she was a coach at, oh, she's gonna kill me if I forget, if it was, I think it was West Virginia. It
Wow.
was an F45 in the campus in their rec center. So she was an F-45 coach there. So she kind of had the experience, even though
Sure.
they run it a little differently on the at the campuses. Um, and she absolutely loves it here. My favorite thing in this gym is that all of the trainers work out here.
That's awesome.
So there are days
Yeah,
that I come in here. I was here last Saturday and I didn't fit in a class because the coaches all fill the rest of the spaces.
that's
And
great.
my thing is I'll take the very, very last spot
Yep.
available. So I'm not taking from members or from one of the coaches because I want them to be a part of the community. That's all I
Oh,
really need.
fantastic. And so let's talk about customer experience because I think it bleeds into from the people that you're hiring. It's no surprise that you have a top notch experience. You have a great retention rate. You have a ton of members for your average F45 in the world. At one point, you were 350 plus members, which for an
Yep.
average F45, usually I think they're at like 250, at least back when I was.
We're back up to 330 now,
Yeah.
which is
So,
good.
so
And we're
fantastic.
in like we're about to hit the growth time of year.
Yeah. So customer experience, which I love. I come in as a new trial, right? You
Right.
have a 7-day free trial. It's my first day. I walk through the doors. What happens? Do
As
people
you
know I'm coming in?
Yeah. So
Great.
in our system, everybody sees who's the new person in the room. You can also see it by the look in their eyes when they
Yes.
walk in like
Hell,
this.
yeah.
Um, they walk in, we greet them by name. Their name is already, oh, you must be Corey. This is your first class, isn't it? Where you from? So little small talk, and then we talk about F-45, if they've ever done F-45 before, what kind of workout they do. Then we walk them out onto the floor and explain how the TVs work, how the rotation patterns work, how the classes run. And then we almost always start them at station one, so there's no
Yep.
confusion there. Um, and then we follow them around the room. So the nice thing about F-45 is the TVs run the class,
Yep.
right? They say when to go, when to stop, when to rest, when to rotate. It gives us the opportunity to be one-on-one. So we know that we have 3 new people in class. Those are the people we're going to cycle to the most. Everybody else gets a touch. So nobody, you want to, I'll preach it till the day I die. Nobody gets neglected. Even if you've
Yep.
been here 7 years, you're still going to get the attention that you want, you need, and what to help you fit your goals. Because everybody still has goals. They're not in here because
Exactly.
they
Which is
don't have a goal.
which you've that's a big thing. Just to touch on it is that doing that effective needs analysis when they
Yep.
come in is huge.
Yeah.
What is their goals? Everyone's
Right.
working on something. They're not just coming here because they're bored.
Yep. They do a body scan after they join so that we can see where their starting point is. And then we just stay with them. So your first class, at the end of class, we're going to talk to you a little bit about it. We're going to make sure you sign up for another class. I had someone new in here this morning. I looked at it and I said, you're going to be sore. It's not like maybe. I looked at
Yeah.
it, I go, it's not
Yeah.
maybe. You're going to be sore. Come back. Don't be like, I have to feel better. Let the soreness go down. I said, that'll take a week. I said, just come back. Tomorrow's a cardio class. You'll be doing jump rope and you'll be running.
This is a great point. I will tell you why. And this is a big transition coming from fitness. The thing about the workout is that, yeah, you're tired while you're doing it, but you're setting expectations,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk to a lot of owners of the DRIPBaR about, sometimes people will get a drip, depends on the drip you get, and they might not feel anything afterwards right away
Right.
because sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes for whatever your goals are, your condition is, it takes a certain amount of drips.
I was going to say it could be
Right.
like multiple drips, right?
So one of the things I'm always preaching is you got to set the right expectations, and then you'll hear
Right.
less objections in the end. So you tell them you're going to be sore.
Right.
You just
Proactive.
worked out.
Be proactive about it. All right, you're getting this, recovery drip. You're not going to feel it like in like 10 minutes. You're going to feel,
Yeah.
tonight or tomorrow morning, you're not going to be sore and you might not realize that the drip is what's helped that. So I get that part. You really have to proactively address the question,
Yep.
right? The question is going to be, when am I going to feel better?
Exactly.
When am I going to lose
When
weight?
am I going to lose
When
weight?
am I going to get bigger muscles? I'm like, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's going to be 3 months, 6
Yeah,
months, 9
yeah,
months.
that's that old one, right? And
That's
it
right.
says in like in 4 weeks you notice, in 6 weeks you see it on the scale, in
Yeah.
8 weeks they notice.
That's right.
Yeah. So it takes some time, but after we've worked with that person, we make sure they're coming back.
So the great thing is, I love that you do is your front desk people, or you if you're there, or
Mhm.
whoever, we're booking that next appointment.
Yep.
We don't let them walk out, and we're making it as easy as possible for them to come back.
Yes.
Right. So you're saying, what are you saying to them after their first workout? When are we getting you back?
When do you want to come to next class?
When do you
Right?
want to
When's
come
your
to
next
class?
class?
Yeah,
Or you can actually just say, how's tomorrow at the same
love
time?
that. Yeah.
Right? You kind of just throw it at them
Yep.
and set it up for them so they can say, oh well, like, well, you meet it today at 9:30. Do you think tomorrow at 9:30 is fine? You're gonna be sore, don't worry about it. We're gonna be running around the room. It's not heavy lifting tomorrow, so you'll get your cardio work in. And it's really important that you experience the different types of
Love that.
classes here.
Yeah.
That's, one of the things people, the girl that they lifted today. I'm like, today's slow. You're lifting weights today. We're building muscles today. Tomorrow we're burning calories. So we need you to come in so you see what that feels like in here too. Her first question was, how do you do cardio without any treadmills in here?
Yeah. That
I
big
was like,
misconception, right?
yeah,
Even in fitness, people
yep,
have, and let alone coming to a drip
yeah,
bar for the first time.
yep,
And then the best part is this, again, making these analogies between what we do,
yep,
what you do in fitness, is our price points are similar. I
yeah.
mean, to your monthly membership ranges from what?
It's 189 for
Yeah.
unlimited classes.
Yeah. Which is generally what our memberships
Yep,
are. It's more expensive for a drip if you're not on a membership. So that's the incentive to
yep.
becoming a member. Do you get so when you're creating that great experience, right? And be honest, how often do you get an objection that it's the actual price versus them signing up or saying like, "Oh, I just want to wait a little bit."
I'm
Like
gonna
what?
I'm gonna say it's like once out of every like 15 to 20 times.
Yeah,
It's very, very rare that someone says, well, that's expensive. Because I mean, there's an easy way to talk about it, right? How many
sure,
times you're going to be doing it? How many drips a month you're going to be getting? This
exactly.
is what one drip costs. If you're going to get two a month because you want to do the recovery drip and you want to do a vitamin drip, you're saving money,
Yep.
right? They just they need to see the value in what they're paying for and how
So,
that
so
breaks
is it
down.
is it safe to say these are softball questions from my good friend, but is it safe to say that when you're doing all of the things that you're doing, from confirming the appointments before they come in, doing a thorough needs analysis when they come in, making them feel welcomed and comfortable, not just once they're set up, but throughout the service, which is the workout for you, getting them booked again, right? It's not if they're going to come in again, it's when. And then selling them a membership, it's because you're building value from the start to the finish.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but a lot of owners, not just drip bar people, I'm talking owners that have spanned the last decade for me in franchising, they get so caught up on the price objection and they'll say, Corey, I gotta check my pricing because I think it's just too high. But you have to do an internal look and an internal audit as to like, have you really though looked at your customer experience? And by the way, for that particular person, it could be price. Price is a real objection, but 1 out of 15 is how it should
Right.
be. Like when you're 13 out of 15 people talking about the price, like if 13 out of 15 people were telling you it's too expensive, what do you think would be contributing to that?
I'm too expensive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, if 13 out of 15 people are saying that, the odds are I'm not selling it right. I'm not talking to them
Exactly.
right. So even to that 1 out of 15 people, the answer is, well, how many times are you going to come here? If you're coming here 3 or more times a week, and my members average about 5.5 times a
Yeah.
week, if you're coming here 3 or more times a week, you have to be unlimited. And then
Yep.
then do the math.
Yeah.
Let's say you come 4 times a week, it's 16 classes a month. Let's take
Talk
189 and
about
divide
talk
it by
uh,
16.
talk about your memberships. We have 2 simple memberships at the Drip Bar, 1 drip a month, 2 drips a month. We
Right.
build a lot of value in that. When you say unlimited, you have your unlimited,
So
which
we
is
have we have our unlimited, which is the 189 a month.
you could come as
Uh,
many times a
come
month
as
as you
many
want.
times a month as you want. Then we have 10 times a month. So that's 159 a month. And then 8 times a month, I think we're down to 149 a month. And it costs more per class.
Yeah,
So you really have to decide if you're going to make it more or not. I can't tell you. And we even have 4 times a month for 99 bucks, right? And then we have our class packs. I'll go out on a limb and I'll say it's probably around 60%, maybe a little higher, of people that start at those lower things and end at the unlimited. Because they'll buy a class pack. Okay, you bought a class pack. Okay, you burned through 5 out of your 10 classes in 2 weeks. So let's see what that's costing you now.
absolutely.
And let's see what and then, oh yeah, I guess so. And I'm always like, don't worry about the commitment. We'll take care of that part. down the road. We have a cancellation policy. You're not lock in. It's okay. It's all right. You're safe. Um, I only want to come 4 times a month. And then like after a week and a half, they're like, can I buy more
Right. Yeah,
classes? I'm
of
like, you
course.
can buy more classes or just upgrade your membership. And the same thing, I just had someone with the 8 times a month say to me, all right, next month I just have to be on unlimited because I'm already done with mine and I have 2 weeks left on my 8 pack, on my 8 classes a month. I said, that's perfect. And we set it up. And that's what happens all the time because we have these options, but once they get going, they get going. And
Once they
you guys,
experience
you
what's
have your
happening.
options. And
Yep.
the truth is that once you um, feel the benefits, whether it be from a drip bar or from an F45, the benefits outweigh the cost anyway,
It's so true.
right? It's a very low investment in your health when you think about it, right?
Yep.
Just even do like the silly reductions, like, okay, I won't go to Starbucks anymore. I'll go to 7-Eleven and put the flavor in there that
Yeah.
I want. Or, I'll go to Starbucks twice a week instead of 7 times a week. Or any one of those things to cut out. I'll DoorDash, maybe
Yeah.
never, and start cooking my food and preparing my food on a Sunday night. Me and my wife will sit down and we'll cook together. I'll watch her because she doesn't let me in the kitchen. That's a different story. I'm just kidding. But we'll do those things to offset that cost, and that means you're having a value in your health.
Yep.
So it's a big step for people to make, especially in today's world, because it's all quick eats, quick drinks. How
Yep.
fast can I do it? But then if you start really looking at like what you're spending on certain things versus what you're spending on yourself, there's your value. There's your offset of the value anyway.
So, housekeeping about franchising,
Yeah.
from what I've heard, hire someone or get someone into that manager position or who has manager potential.
Yes.
Awesome. Lot of grassroots, endless amount of grassroots marketing.
Yeah.
Meet people
You
in the
you
community,
do
as
your
many
right, you do your social media, but you get your ass out there.
you get your
That's
ass
really
out
you
there.
find
Well,
the
that's important
events.
too.
Yeah,
Doing your social media is something I try
yeah,
to teach all the time.
yeah.
You got to do that. You got to get your ass out in the
Yep.
community. Do you even do digital advertising anymore?
Yes.
How much do you
S
spend a month? I mean,
so,
we try to tell owners $2,500,
we're
$3,000.
spending like 1,500.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
Um,
going to be earth shattering.
it's not earth-shattering. It gets the
You gotta
lead
have it.
flow going.
Yeah.
It gives you a pipeline, right?
Yep.
The grassroots and the, events and stuff, those are like
Yep.
hits, right? You get a hit and you come home, you have your little stack of cards that people filled out. The the marketing is the steadier flow,
Yep. I
right?
love that. And then referrals.
Referrals
It's
are the
huge.
number one thing ever in the whole wide universe.
What do you coach your team on when to ask, how to ask? How does that happen?
It's always,
Oh, I
literally
love that
always
answer.
asking for
Always
referrals.
ask.
We have a special referral offer where the member gets a benefit, and now we're adding a benefit to the new member too. So you bring in your friend, and you both get it discounted next month. They'll get a discount the first month, and the member gets a discount also on their next month. Um, that is a very low cost for marketing.
It's the best.
So your best advertisers are on the floor. The best advertisers are the one that come through your door and high five everyone and know everybody's name
Yeah,
because they want to bring their
I
friends.
just recently talked to an owner and they're like, I just had some staff people leave. I'm like, send an email out to your members. You have 100 members. Like, they might know someone that wants to work your front desk. That's
Hmm.
how it works.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm
Send an
like,
email or do a post.
that is your
Yeah.
community. That's your referrals. That's
Yep.
your employee base.
Uh-huh.
That's your everything. So any words of wisdom now that you're 7 years in?
Yeah. May
Jesus.
will be 7 years open.
So any words of wisdom just in terms of like everything we've talked about? Obviously, you're a successful person who runs franchises. If you had to do it all over again, is there anything else you would have told yourself 7 years ago to give yourself less anxiety?
One of the things I always say is don't worry about the competition. Don't
It's a
worry.
great. I
And I
love that.
actually tell people, I'm like, it's just noise.
I
It's
love
just
that.
noise. Even if it's
That will be a clip
eh,
on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram for me. Just so you know, right now, that will be a clip.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, I tell people it doesn't even matter if it's your same brand. And I don't know what your guys' limits are or anything like that. But even if another F45 opened up down the block, I still look at it as okay, that's another F45. So more people will be interested in
I love.
F45, right? But it's not my problem. I'm going to give the best possible experience here. And by doing that, they're not going to go anywhere anyway. They're going to want to stay. They'll be loyal. They enjoy being here anyway. We just had like a full blown F-45 knockoff open up near us. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, I
It
love
does
it.
to me. It doesn't matter.
This is what you have to listen to. That is the mindset.
It's hard to have that in the beginning,
It
right?
is. I
It's
totally
very
get it.
hard
Yeah,
to
and
have
owners
that
will
little
agree.
piece of swagger in the beginning
Yeah,
where you're like, I don't give a shit,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But you know, don't worry about the people around you. Embrace the competition. Um, and I would also say location, super important. Be in the middle of activity,
Mm,
right? Don't look for like a cool, isolated, trendy spot
yeah,
because that's not easy to get to. People don't see it that often. Um, and be right in the middle of all the action. And again, my thing is one thing that I would change, and I have one studio that's a little further away than the other studio. I'd probably move it in a little closer.
gotcha.
So I'd create a little closer
Yep.
circle of the three studios. But my East Setauket studio is doing great and growing beautifully. And that's another one where I have a studio manager there, and she's just flourishing. Lauren is
I love
doing,
it.
you know, awesome out there, and another one that we've empowered, and she just embraced it. And it's special when you see that, when you can empower someone
Yep.
and they embrace it and lean into it, and they're like, "What about this too?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Keep going.
I love that.
You got anything else?" So, that's the easy way to do it is find those people and trust those people. So there's a leap of faith. And, one of my other things that I like to say is you don't know who you can trust until you trust them,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Give them the trust. And then if you can't trust them, okay, that's it. But if you can trust them, you've given it to them so they know.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Marc Arnberg, what I love is that I'm passionate about
Yeah.
F-45. A big thank you to Tom Dowd, the CEO of F-45,
Great
because
work,
we
Tom.
because we have a great partnership between the
Yeah.
DRIPBaR and F-45. So if you are an F-45 member out there, head on over to the DRIPBaR. We have a special discount just for those F-45 members. He gets it for
Especially
free.
good for the challenge starting right
That's
now.
right. And if
Get in
you're a
there.
and if you're a DRIPBaR member or owner, we've preached this. Get your ass to an F-45. They will open, welcome you with open
February
arms.
6th, you guys are coming here, and we're scheduling the other two studios. There is nothing better for these members than to let them know you care. There are options, there are things out there that'll help them with this challenge as it gets going, because we all know the challenge can get nice and intense, which is what you want it to be anyway.
I love that. So all of Mark's contact information will be in the description below. Thanks, Mark. Always appreciate it.
Oh,
Next time I'm here, I'll be in my workout
you
clothes. Thank
bet.
you.